Today, we will be looking at a game where white got a very big advantage using our favorite opening, the Scotch Gambit. After e4, black played pawn to e5. And this is a game between two grandmasters from Turkey, Grandmaster Mert Yilmazierli and the international master, actually, Ekaterina Atalik. And here, white played knight f3, black played knight c6, and pawn to d4. So white's opening his bishop, putting pressure on the center. Black took on d4, and white played bishop to c4, our favorite Scotch Gambit. So for those of you who don't know, I, international master Alan Safaramta, published my course that is available on Chessable and chess.com, Fast and Furious Scotch Gambit, where I go into crucial detail of how to use this opening to be a lethal weapon. And I cover all the theory and pack it with novel ideas with a venomous approach and very simple and easy to retain for the learner. Now, I'm going to be showing you some games with the Scotch Gambit. So not only could you get my course, but you get extra content, seeing some model games where we have some swashbucklers, some commandeers of the Scotch Gambit using the opening in action. This is our opening of war. That is why we have the tank behind. We're in the battlefield. We're looking out for these mines. We are going for it. So after bishop c4, knight f6, black plays attacking our pawn. And by now you should know, pawn to e5, attacking the knight. Black strikes back, pawn to d5. Here we play bishop b5. After knight e4, knight takes d4. So we're attacking his knight on c6, and black blocks with bishop to d7. And here, the theory goes bishop takes, b takes with castles. So the whole idea of the Scotch Gambit is we gave up our bishop. However, we have the strong pawn on e5. We're ready to kick this knight away with f3. Our f pawn can go all the way to f4, f5. And the black king is still in the center, while we have castled already. Meanwhile, black has these double pawns. Now, the thing about the double pawns, they are static weakness. But white has to be careful sometimes, because if these pawns get rolling in the center, it could be some trouble. So the whole concept of the Scotch Gambit is we're playing against black's double pawns. We're using our strong pawn mass on the king side to generate some sort of attack. So the Scotch Gambit has an aggressive point of view, and it also has a strong positional foundation playing against the double pawns. Black played bishop to c5. The main line bringing the bishop out, ready to castle. We kick the knight with f3. This is covered in my course, this position. After knight g5, pawn to f4 is played. The knight comes back to e4, and we play bishop to e3, reinforcing the knight. And after castles, all of this is covered in my course. Knight to d2 is played. Now, black's knight on e4 was too strong, so simply we had to get rid of it. Black took, queen takes, and bishop to b6. And now we get introduced to a very important concept of the Scotch Gambit, which is how to maintain, how to tame the double pawns. And here that is where they move knight to b3. We control the c5 square. One of the main themes of the Scotch Gambit is keeping these double pawns static, because by keeping them static, we restrain black's play, and then after that, we go ahead with our play on the king side. So we keep the c5 square on the wraps. So black's pawns become immobile, and this also makes his bishop not so good, since the bishop is stuck babysitting these pawns, and we would love to trade this bishop for this bishop, because then the dark square weaknesses will be much more prevalent. Rook to e8 was played in the game. White continued in usual style, rook e1. So white is playing in, he's mixing a bit of both ideas. He plays positionally, stopping the advance of the black double pawns, and then brings in his rook with possible aggressive intent. So the Scotch Gambit, I like it because it's a strong positional open, but it's very aggressive. Pawn to f6 is played. And now another move that I liked what white played, queen to c3. Queen on c3 is superb. It defends e5. It looks at the c5 square. It's multitasking. Black took on e5. White retook. Now, this pawn, it might seem isolated, it might seem weak, and that it cannot be defended by any other pawn. However, we have the open f file. The rook on e1 looks down at it. And again, we still look at the c file. His bishop is not doing too well. Jumped out with the queen to g5. What? Can he take the queen? No. This queen cannot be taken due to the pin on the king. So black found a very creative move. Grandmaster Mert played knight to c5. Now he wants to take the queen, and he's also attacking the bishop. So black parted with his dark squared bishop. We recaptured with the bishop. Now, a very important concept we reach again. And this is the point. You have my course. I explain that very well. But I'm going out of my way, making these YouTube videos, giving you extra content so that you become an even stronger Scotch Gambit player. And if you didn't buy my course, well, you're wasting time. Go ahead and get it right now, available on Chessable and chess.com. Fast and furious Scotch Gambit. If bishop f5 is played here, but before all of that, we have opposite colored bishops. We have the dark squared bishop, he has the light squared bishop. And the whole point is that we prove and claim that our dark squared bishop is much better than his light squared bishop. Because first of all, again, his pawns are very well blocked. They won't be going anywhere anytime because they cannot move the dark squares because of our bishop. And we want to organize some sort of attack on his king. Maybe our bishop could come here and look towards his king in a lot of scenarios. Bishop to f5. And now rook to e3 is played. Again, the rook is looking towards the king's side. Bishop to e6 was played. I am actually sweating. She's trying to hold together the position. Rook e to f3 was played. And now this looks very dangerous. We are bearing down on the f8 square. Queen to g4 was played. Really, she didn't know what to do. Rook to f4 chasing the queen. Queen to e2. And now, simply the move b3. A waiting move, seeing what's black really up to. Queen to b5 was played. Really, she doesn't know what's going on. She transferred her queen from the king's side, and now her queen came all the way on the other side of the board. What sense does that make? Your queen was right by your king, defending the king's side, and you maneuvered around by your queen and brought it all the way out by the other side, away from the defense of your king. To me, that's just very, as we say in my country, very dotish. Pawn to a4, attacking the queen. Queen moves back. Now, what is the queen doing all the way here? And the king is all the way here. Something is off. Queen to d3, a sly move. Looking towards the king. And after king, h8. Rook to h4, threatening mate. Bishop to g8. And now, Grandmaster Mert uncorked a fine move. Rook to f7. The rook is untouchable due to queen h7 mate. Black played, he didn't dare to take the pawn on e5. He played rook to e6. Now bishop to f8. Attacking g7, threatening mate in 1. Again, the rook cannot be taken due to queen h7 mate. After queen b6, simply king h1. Rook takes f8 was played. And Grandmaster Mert, the move of the game, the Scotch Gambit. This is what we are talking about. Within the Scotch Gambit, we get these beautiful kind of wins. It's time to get ready for you to play the Scotch. Here we have queen takes h7. After bishop takes, rook takes f8 is mate. And fellow viewers, that there is another example of some key points of the Scotch Gambit. Be an advocate of the fast and furious Scotch Gambit.